Evening, everyone. Thank you so much for coming tonight. My name is Stratton, and I'm joined on the stage by my friend Alba. We are some of the organizers. Thank you. Some of the organizers of tonight's event, Pechakucha. And yeah, it's such a pleasure to have all of you here. Thank you for coming out. Bermuda is such a busy, vibrant cultural scene. There's so many options every night, I feel like. So it's great to see all of your faces. We always like to do a show of hands to begin with. How many people here have been to one of these events before? Can you just, okay. So we got a lot of regulars. Welcome back.
I see new faces as well.
And I've seen some new faces. So could we just get a show of hands to some of the new faces? All right, yeah. Thanks for coming out. This event has been going on since 2012, if I recall. Nikki, was it 2012?
Nikki's here.
Nikki's here. 2012? Okay, it was a long time ago. And this is the 35th edition of the Pechakucha series. Yeah, let's get a round of applause for that. For those of you that don't know, though, this is an international presentation series. It started in Tokyo, Japan, and it is spread around the world to over 1,000 cities. And we are so fortunate to be able to operate and to make this event happen under their guidance. And the thing with Pechakucha, it means chit-chat, for those of you that don't know. I'm probably saying it wrong. We're still trying to work out how to say it properly.
Yeah, we keep working it out. Pechakucha, Pikachu.
Yeah, Pikachu's a common one. Pechakucha. Yeah. So, anywho, it's been going on in Bermuda for some time now, and it's all over the world. And the thing about the structure is that there are 20 slides, and the slides last for 20 seconds, and you will flow through as a presenter for 6 minutes and 40 seconds. And then it goes to a Q&A. And the Q&A will last for 3 minutes and 20 seconds. So
yeah, and that will be your opportunity to ask questions. The great thing about Pechakucha, I think, is it's going to give us a window into a lot of different topics today. We have an amazing lineup of presenters. We have 7 tonight. We've seen the presentations and we're just so proud and happy to have them here. So, yes, oh, sorry, I don't know why. So, yeah, we're so happy to have you here. We explained, the format. Anything else that we have left?
I think, one thing is that all of these people that are coming up on stage tonight are volunteers, and they've been giving their time and energy to share their stories and their passions and what they're excited about. So, they're very brave to be coming up here, and I love what this event can do. I love how it brings together our community, and we are part of the Pechakucha community, which is global. And standing up here on stage, we are all part of that. So I just want to take some time to think about that as a community.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite things about Pechakucha. It makes us, be part of a global community. Sometimes in Bermuda, we often forget that we live in our little bubble. But tonight, we wanted just to take a special moment. We wanted to invite you to join us in a minute of silence in solidarity with what's going on in the world. There is just so much violence all around the world, genocide. The states. There's Congo, Sudan, Palestine, even in Bermuda. We're not strangers. What the violence means and what it can do to your community. So today, we couldn't really start Pechakucha without echoing what's happening in the world right now, because we are part of the world. So we would like just to ask you all just to join us in a minute of silence, please.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. We felt that we needed just to do that. We cannot just keep business as usual. But back to Pechakucha, we have an amazing lineup for tonight. And I think that it's time to kick it off with the first presenter. The first presenter that we have is Kenya. Do we have Kenya around here? Yes. We are so happy to have her today. She has an amazing and very fun presentation, which is called The Bank of Adventure. She's a fellow improviser and a friend, and we are just so happy just to welcome her. So please give it a big round of applause to Kenya.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Alba. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you guys for coming. And this is my first time on stage in, I think, a very long time. So not for singing, because some of you know I'm a musician, so first time presenting, but yeah. So as Alba mentioned, Kenya from Kenya. So today I'm gonna take you through my other passion, which is travel. I'm originally from Kenya, East Africa, Nairobi to be precise. And it's a beautiful country. If you wanna see me after this on how you can get there, how I can make it happen for you, just find me. This is my beautiful city, Nairobi. Fun fact, we are the only city in the world who have a national park in the city. It's not a zoo, it's a national park. So that's actually Nairobi, okay? You can go on safari in the city, which is amazing. So, yeah. And so, the Bank of Adventure. It all began with ISEC. So ISEC is a student-run organization, which is in over 100 countries. This is me in Hong Kong, just like 2 years before I joined ISEC, and it was amazing. And that's my friend, she's also from Hong Kong. And I got to live there and go to all these different places. And my passion for travel was born. So I got to go to France. I lived and worked in Brussels. I also lived in Austria for a little bit, Canada. And so, yes, so traveled a lot. And as you can see, this is the Eiffel Tower. And then I also got to come to Bermuda as well. And as some of you know, Chew Stick, right? So I got to volunteer for Chew Stick, which was an amazing experience. Which, you know, my travel passion kept growing. And I also had like the singing going on as well, as you can see. And back then, I was very, very scared of, you know, audiences. So travel has opened so many things for me, and I believe that, you know, life, if you just have one chapter of your life, is like being in Bermuda is just one chapter. So when you travel, you get to see many chapters. This is my friend, Sam. He's from Germany. This is a holy festival we celebrated. I also got to climb Kilimanjaro, beautiful mountain. This is actually, we were like on top of the clouds, literally. And this is one of the most amazing experiences of my life from traveling. And yeah, so as I said, when you travel, it's like you get to open another chapter, and you get to experience life. And this is my friends and I in El Salvador. This was last year. And, you know, we had this amazing birthday for my friend, which was a sunrise birthday. Her name is Estrella, which means a star, I think, in Espanol. Yes? So yeah, so yes, I got to have all these experiences. I went to Brazil. The penguins are in South Africa, at the Cape of Good Hope, near the Cape of Good Hope. Chichen Itza in Mexico. So I've traveled a lot, and so I would love for other people to experience what I've experienced. And so I had this idea, which I'll get into. Again, Mexico, we got to see, this is the pyramids of Teotihuacan, which I don't know how many of you have been to Mexico. Anyone? Oh, quite a few. Yes, it's amazing, right? Beautiful country, beautiful people. Yeah, so I think this was country 50, I don't know, 54, 53. Cuba. So so one of my friends said I should start like maybe a travel vlog, I don't know. But the idea I want to share with you today is about the Bank of Adventure. Basically how we are going to merge financial services, which is what I do by day, and travel, passion for travel. So, as you know, I'm from Kenya, so visa problems. So, I don't even know how I've been able to do it, to be honest, because there's so much visa discrimination. You apply for a visa, especially the US visa, guys, you have to bare your soul. So I was able to successfully apply for all my visas and make it to Bermuda. This is actually Bermuda with my sister when she visited. We had so much fun. But you know, back to the visas. Like I said, it's very difficult. It's very daunting. If you're from a lower income country, you do struggle with it. So I've had those instances, and that's why I was thinking, like, how can we try and change things for people? How can we, maybe be the next resistance for, killing basically the whole thing with the visas. So I had this idea, like I said. It was born as we were driving with my friend. We were driving this plane. We were not. This is the República Dominicana. And this is like 10 years ago before we actually had just come from Bermuda. And I was in Dominican Republic for another reason. But I had this idea, like I said, Bank of Adventure. So how do we merge financial services and travel? So basically what my idea is, you know how you could be a farmer, you don't have much income, maybe you earn $500 a month. What if we could keep your deposits in our bank, and it's actually a bank. We call it the Bank of Adventure. And basically our mandate is to help you save and then have an amazing trip after. And we also help you with your visa and all of that jazz, yeah? So that's where this idea was born. It's an idea which I've had for, I think, like 10 years. And so I think it's time to implement it. And like I said, you secure your savings. And as you know, banks actually make so much money from having your money. Did you know that? In fact, when they charge you fees, it's an abomination. Like, you should be like, why? Because literally what banks do, their business model is they take your money, they give you only, 5% interest, and then they lend it to someone else for 20. So, yeah, so back to the Bank of Adventure. I've been to, I haven't counted, 60 countries with my Kenyan passport. If you have a strong passport, shame on you, you need to go and travel, because I've managed. And so, yeah, the world is your oyster. Are you ready for the Bank of Adventure? Are you ready to invest? See me after if you wanna if you wanna explore this idea further, because I think like there's something there, and we can actually create niche travel experiences for people, especially people from poorer countries, and maybe even the government. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. Come here. I love that idea. I'm sure that there are some questions in the room for Kenya about this wonderful bank of idea, or perhaps about her travels.
Yes.
Hello, what's ISLIC? You said,
okay.
You said it, and I didn't know what the acronym meant.
Sorry. So it stands for a French word. It's basically an association of young people who are in university who want to change the world. And so they change the world through indirect impact. So you join ISEC, and then you go on exchange. Either like you go on a development program in Kenya, whatever, or you go on an internship, work for PwC, Deloitte, Google, which I did all of that. And so ISEC is basically this amazing organization that helps you as a student in university, to just open your mind, travel, meet new people, work abroad. And that's actually how I got to Bermuda, because I got a transfer from PwC in Tanzania to PwC in Bermuda through ISEC. So yeah, it's amazing.
Any other questions? Yep.
Hi, so if I want to have a bank account, how do I do that? Do I come to
Okay,
you?
so again, it's an idea. We're gonna work out the kinks after this with all the people who are passionate about traveling with me. Okay, because listen, that's how things happen. So yeah, you come, you apply. There's no application. There's no application. You just we'll iron out the financial piece where it's like an actual financial service. So we'll have to get it registered and so on. Once it's registered, you just come on the website, you put in your information, and we're good to go. You start making your deposits. The business model is that on our side, we make money, I guess, just like a bank from having your money, but you get a trip at the end of it, and you get to have a trip even if you don't make that much money. So, yeah.
Yeah. Here we go.
What was your favorite country so far?
People ask that all the time. And I didn't have an answer, because I just don't believe in like saying, this one is better than. Every country is beautiful and has its own unique, selling points. But to be honest, this year I went to Brazil. Brazil is my favorite country. I'm even Brazilian now, I keep telling people. I love Bermuda as well. Yes. You see, this is what I'm saying. When you start saying that you have a favorite, you get in trouble. So I love Bermuda as well. That's why I'm here. Yeah. So.
What other questions do we have? Oh, there we go.
Is there a country which is kind of unattainable for your passport, but you really, really want to go to? And why?
Oh, which one is unattainable? All of them, man. Listen, like even the U.S. alone, like you have to apply like 6 months bank statements, I don't know, pay slips, itinerary, all of them, man. All are difficult. So because I've been able to do, let's say, the U.S., Canada, the UK, those are the most difficult ones because you do give them your whole life and they still reject your application. And it has been rejected. I've been denied a visa to Canada. So, yeah, all of them. Yeah. I know people are shocked. Listen, it's the story. Like, it's so crazy. We can talk after. Find me. I'll tell you all my woes. Yeah.
Any other questions out there?
Hi, I just had a question about suggestions you may have for traveling on a budget.
Okay. Well, those are many. So I feel like one of the things that I've been able to do, because it's kind of like a domino effect. You make friends when you go to one country, then they kind of open the door for the other country because when you have accommodation covered, it's like half the costs are gone. So I would say make connections, build relationships with people, like be open to talking to people. Like, see how I told you come to Kenya? Talk to me after. I got you. Maybe you get free accommodation in Kenya, you know, like that kind of thing. So tips like you stay with locals, stay with friends of friends. For like flights, you can get them cheaper if you like. And I also book flights last minute, but it's like I have a passion for finding them. So you can also see me after. But anyway, but yeah, so like, yeah, I would say like just connect with people, locals, friends, ask people. Don't be shy to ask people like, oh, I'm going to this country. Do you know someone? You know, you might be shocked by people's kindness and it'll save you like a ton of money, so.
Could we get another round of applause for Kenya? All right, so we're going to continue on the adventure train, and our next presenter is going to be talking to us about an adventure that she had. If I could cue the slide. Her name is Jasmine Patterson. You might be familiar with her if you watch the nightly news. Jasmine Patterson, this is her first time to the stage, and we are so excited to have her here. Thank you, Jasmine. And it's a pleasure to welcome her to the stage because I've had the same experience as Jasmine has, and I'm not going to tell you anymore. All right? Thanks, guys. Let's get another round of applause.
My heart's beating out of my chest. But yes, I'm Jasmine Patterson. Happy to be here. And I'm here to talk about why local news matters. I'm a Shevenings. Oh, how about now? Sorry. How about now? Is that better? Yeah, it's kind of hands-free. Thanks. So yes, I'm a Shevening scholar as a Stratton, and so I applied back in 2020 and was successful. It's an international scholarship offered as well as to Bermudians, full board and full tuition to study in any university in the UK. So I'm here to talk about that experience. Thanks. Okay, so local news is critical for community building and delivers information like key events such as hurricanes and elections. Journalists provide context and hold power to account, such as politicians, government, police, finance, and empowers local businesses. We're storytellers. My first mentor and the late Arnold Landy, he said every day is a fishing day, not every day is a catching day. So about a year before the pandemic, I became deeply curious about the role of journalism and why it's important to this society. And I wanted to learn how to serve the community better. The pandemic was a game changer. I saw people engage with news differently. Trust became a valuable currency. So off to Kingston University, we're taught media ethics, truth, accuracy, and the foundational skills of journalism. My student paper, Kingston Courier, I wrote about the residents who were angry that affordable housing was being built on their property. And what seemed like a great idea, they had no consultation. One of the people I spoke to actually had to give up their disabled parking. But we produced the Voices news supplement, and this was during the time that the George Floyd protests happened, Black Lives Matter. And I interviewed Dr. Victoria Onyeka, and she said that vaccine hesitancy in Black, Asian, minority, ethnic students was a higher risk of getting COVID, and she spoke about that. Emerging from the lockdown, we were able to go in person to class. That's my broadcast class. And we learn about the foundations of Ofcom broadcast code and why that's important for society and keeping us all safe. Court reporting can be challenging. Journalists must take great care and expected, especially in small communities. Victims of sex crimes cannot be identified unless express consent is given. And reporting details of alleged crimes before trials happen can prejudice a jury. So my dissertation, Surviving the Triangle, the Role of Digital-Only News Outlets in a Dual Legacy Media Landscape. I was intrigued about the future of journalism in Bermuda, and considering its historic and political history. How effective are digital-only news outlets? Newsrooms are shrinking. Where are journalists going? So my hypothesis was I suspect that growing interest in news content via digital platforms does not translate into profitability or growth. However, it may diversify the media economy and present opportunities for niche interests. So it may fill the gaps that larger organizations miss. So I expect the increase of the use of paywalls to access content and the cost of remaining online will be unsustainable. The audience perspective, less media loyalty, and instead you'll be drawn towards which news reaches you first via social media, web, etc. So my case study, I researched 4 digital news organizations. 2 are now defunct. 2 are currently still operational to examine their journeys. How are they funded? What are the challenges? This was not a comparison to legacy media, but rather how these trailblazers are charting a path in an effort to serve their community. So today in Bermuda is founded by Carla Zuhl. She broke the news of the untimely death of an MP and showed that she had true fortitude when it comes to competing with larger organizations. However, she works multiple regular jobs, including at a takeout restaurant to support herself. She operated with 1 web assistant to support her, and eventually she burnt out. On to Politica, as we know, Aya Johnson, the great Aya Johnson, who produced several follow-up stories following the Jetgate. We all remember that. So he had no advertiser dollars accepted in his model, and in the sake of true independence. However, the subscription paywall did not receive the revenue streams it needed to continue. Island Stats was founded by Earl Baisden, is the longest running digital news organization in the country. Matter of fact, it opened in 2007. And he uses very limited resources, himself and a camera. And it's very niche content, which everyone can get behind. It's sport. Onto Media Maya. Maya Palacio founded the company and broke the mold during the pandemic, was on Instagram and reaching platforms, touching platforms where people were in their homes, and it was refreshing. This was supplemented by part-time work as well, and often working alone and on an ad hoc basis. But she did manage to do long-form content. So my secondary sources used, there were no books on journalism in Bermuda, no academic research, so I had to piece together a lot of the context from historic books, or rather academics from Keto Swan, other political history books, and the attitudes in Bermuda have barely budged when it comes to media. So the variety of news outlets collapsed in 2008. It went from 5 newspapers down to 1 in 4 years due to the credit crunch, and there was a fracturing of revenues. Extra challenges was that the community was not accustomed to spending on news. So my findings were that Bermuda's media industry is a delicate puzzle. And in a small digital organizations, they cannot support themselves with large staff numbers to source content, less content, limited ad revenue, or rather incentive. The more niche the reporting, the more likely you have to success in the long run, such as the case in Island Stats. So what now? The message I gathered is to support your local news provider. They will work for you. The more informed we are as a community, the more likely you are to have success. The news industry might be uncertain, but one thing is, and that's connection. So thank you.
Very timely. Well done, Jasmine. So I'm sure all of you have burning questions to ask Jasmine Patterson. Good. There we go. There's one right there.
Hi, good evening, Jasmine. I have one question. You mentioned a number of media outlets. Two you did not cover, one TNN Bermuda and the other Bermuda Real. Do you care to comment on long-term prognosis for those two entities?
Yes, I do. I knew this question was coming. So at the time I was in university from 2020 to 2021, TNN was literally just getting off the ground and hadn't really built the base that it does now. But if I was to do my research again, I would certainly include him in my research. I hope that helps.
Great question. Bermuda Real, what about Bermuda Real?
Yeah, that's right. Ciola Wilson. To be honest, I believe she may have been unavailable. Don't quote me. I wanted to use case studies with different interests, and I believe that her content was very similar to Carla Zuhl's. So it didn't really provide that kind of variety that I needed to study. But I'm pretty sure she would have been willing as my ace girl.
Any other questions back here? There's one in the front.
Hi, you said there was no literature available. Would you be interested in writing a Bermuda book on journalism?
Oh, I thoroughly enjoyed the dissertation process. I was literally in the library 9 to 5. I treated it as a normal job. My days were planned out by the hour. So it was like no social media and completely get in the zone. So I definitely enjoyed the process. And I think there is a need for media literacy in Bermuda. As a society, it's a key pillar of democracy. And given what's happening around the world, I think Bermuda could certainly use it. So I guess, in short, yes, but don't hold it to me. Yeah.
What other questions do we have out there?
Hey, what would your view be on like AI generated content for media?
Yeah, it's a big question. I see its purpose. We have this term called journalism, where we have press releases sent out, and it does take up a lot of manpower. And I would love to just have a system to say, put that out. I need time to do my work. But on the other hand, I think it poses a greater risk for creative services. I think with journalism, it still needs that human factor. Like we have to put everything into context. We have to put everything into feeling and speaking with people. I think that's something technology cannot do right now, but it's certainly changing the dynamics of the newsroom. How that's going to happen here, we might not see it for another 5 to 10, but it's certainly changing things currently. Yeah. Neither for nor against, but
Okay, I have a question, Jasmine. So you mentioned about that the niche news providers might do better. What would you like to see as another niche content area that someone should take out?
Goodness. To me, politics is news. It's where the real power for change is. You would have seen high turnover rates of journalists, specifically hard news journalists in this country, and because it's not easy. And I think it serves a greater purpose. Of course, sports, community events. And I think a lot of people have interest in that, but to have specifically a news beat on politics would do us a great service. I mean, I bumped into a woman. Becky Beston was her name, in Kingston, and her son was stabbed to death. He was 19, his name Archie. And she started a national campaign to call for those who are killed in stabbings to have automatic life sentences. That's not currently on the UK books, but she hit every national newspaper, not just the big outlets. She went for the local Kingston papers. She went for the digital-only box. She went online. She went on radio. I think the point is that we're here to serve you, and we don't bite hard, but. It's all about relationship, and I think the more connectivity that we can offer to people in society, we have a society that you want to see. So hope that helps.
So can we get another round of applause? If you have more questions for any of the presenters, I encourage you to talk to them during our intermission or at the end of tonight's session. So, yeah, go talk to Jasmine or go talk to any of the presenters, please, afterwards.
Let's introduce our next presenter. Our next presenter is no stranger to, well, actually our next presenter is a stranger. My apologies. Yes, our next presenter is called Gareth Maddock. We were all left speechless after... Sorry, I'm just setting the bar. We were all left speechless because his presentation is going to take us on a journey to infinity. So I'm just going to leave it there and ask you to give a big round of applause to Gareth Maddock.
Anyone know how to get this up? It needs to go way up. By the way, if anyone's fish fry is ready during this, they're going to have to share it with me. That's the rules. We're at top range. Perfect. Can everyone hear me? Cool. Well, nice to meet you all. My name's Gareth Maddock. I am a software developer here in Bermuda. Lived here for the last 3 years. I have what feels at sometimes like infinite number of children, but actually just 3 children who sort of challenge me every day. So I say maybe that's why I sort of chose to discuss this topic. Originally, I studied maths, so that's where I sort of first came across infinity. So that's again sort of the genesis of this idea. Okay, cool. I don't know how close I can get to the mic, to be honest. But is that better? Shall I? Yeah. Okay, cool. So I'm ready. So before we talk about what infinity is, I want to talk about what it isn't. So most people would think that infinity is a number. So 1 plus infinity makes sense, or infinity plus infinity makes sense. So I'm here to tell you that it doesn't. Infinity is a property of something. It's a property of a set of something, things which are boundless. In 2025, you might say that infinity is a vibe. The shape that we're looking at here is called a lemniscate. It was first used in the 17th century. The Greeks, in around 600 BC, they were the first people to kind of document the concept of infinity, and they were known to be scared of it. They didn't really do a great job of tackling it. And in that sense, everyone in this room is braver than the Greeks because we're going to do more in the next 6 minutes than they did in hundreds of years. So as I said, infinity is not a number, but if it were a number, it would be a very big number. I'm going to talk about infinite monkey theorem, which is the idea that if monkeys spent forever in front of a typewriter banging random letters, that they would eventually, with absolute certainty, type the entire works of Shakespeare. But let's make it easy for Mr. Monkey. Let's say he only has to type the word Shakespeare, and he has a keyboard which only has 26 letters on it. To stand a 50% chance of success, he would need 3.1 quadrillion tries, and that would take nearly 1 billion years. And monkeys only live about 30 years, so I don't think he would do very well. One of the things that I love about mathematics is that the concept of proof is much more robust than it is in science. In science, we gather evidence to try and prove a causal link between two things. The link may exist, but there will always be exceptions. With maths, logical proof means that we have proved something for all cases without exceptions, but because infinity is so big, we often need a trick in order to do this. One such trick is called proof by contradiction. The way that this works is that if we think that something is true, we first assume that it is not true. We take logical baby steps until we reach an absurd conclusion, and having arrived there, it must mean that our initial contradictory assumption was wrong. So let's use this to prove that the set of counting numbers, i.e. 1, 2, 3, 4, etc., is infinite. So first of all, we assume that they're not infinite, that they're finite. We take the biggest one and we add 1 to it. That is a counting number because we counted our way to it from another number, but it's not part of our original set. So what that means is that no matter how big we make that set, we can always make another number, which means the set must be infinite. What about prime numbers, though? So prime numbers get more scarce as you increase them. So how can we always be sure that we can make another one? Euclid proved this in around 300 BC. Before I go through that, I'm going to have to talk to you about what a prime number is. It's a number that is only divisible by itself and 1. So 4 is not a prime number because it's divisible by 2. So first of all, let's assume that prime numbers are finite. We make a new prime number, or we make a new number by multiplying them all together and adding 1. If the number we've just made is not a prime number, it means it's divisible by one of the numbers that we agreed was all of them. But if we divide this number by any of those, we have a remainder of 1. So it must be a prime number, and therefore the prime numbers must be infinite. Let's talk about fractals. So fractals are infinitely repeating geometric patterns with self-similarity, which means no matter how much you zoom in, you will see the same pattern over and over again. This one is called the Mandelbrot set, and due to their infinitely repeating nature, they have some very unusual properties. The next one that comes up is called the Cox snowflake. This is made by drawing a triangle and then basically taking every line and adding another triangle in the middle. The special thing about this one is that it has infinite perimeter but finite area. So we know that because we can contain it inside another shape that we know the area of. So I find that kind of pretty amazing that infinite series can converge to finite numbers. We see fractals and repeating self patterns everywhere. So antennas have self-similarity so that they increase the sort of reception within a finite volume. We see them in nature as well. Plants obviously copy themselves over and over again to make it more likely that they'll pollinate. Our lungs are filled with alveoli, which are smaller and smaller sort of copies of themselves. I wanted to talk about single out two people who've made huge contributions to our understanding of infinity. Georg Cantor was the first, and he was born in Russia in 1845. He was a gifted violinist, but a more gifted mathematician. He moved to Germany to study at a young age. One of the things he was most well known for was his work on the cardinality or size of sets. He showed that sets like the primes and the counting numbers were effectively the same size, even though over a finite range, one was much more scarce than the other. He also showed that some infinite sets are larger than others. So, for example, the real numbers is larger than the primes. In effect, he showed that there are different sizes of infinity. Cantor was a deeply religious man, and he believed that his study of the infinite brought him closer to God. Unfortunately for him, other religious people at the time thought he was playing God, and a bunch of uppity mathematicians thought that he was just wrong. I always found it pretty sad that someone could be so passionate and so brilliant, and for that to be used against them. And our next guest, David Hilbert, also agreed. He once said, "No one shall expel us from the paradise that Cantor has created." David Hilbert, I'm sure you'll agree, looks absolutely fire in a hat. He was born in Germany in 1862, and whilst he didn't work with Cantor, he did build upon his work. He was a very influential mathematician who was known for a set of thought experiments called Hilbert's Hotel. He was not a hotel proprietor, but you'll soon see perhaps he missed a trick. Hilbert's Hotel was a hotel with infinite rooms, which were all occupied. He showed that if a single guest arrived needing a room, the owner could ask all guests to move up one, and having done this, because the set of 2 to infinity is infinite, all guests would be accommodated and room number 1 would be available for our new guest. Now imagine that infinitely new guests had arrived to check in. No problem at all. Each guest in the hotel can move to the number double their current number. That means that all of the even-numbered rooms are occupied. The odd numbers rooms are unoccupied, and that is also an infinite set, so all of our new guests could come in. He had many levels of this where like infinite coaches showed up with infinite numbers of people, and he could always find ways to accommodate them. One of the reasons the Greeks were so scared of infinity was that because of its paradoxes. So a man called Zeno came up with a series of these, one of which was about Achilles and his tortoise. Imagine that a tortoise and Achilles raced, and the tortoise had a head start. Zeno said that Achilles would reach the starting point of the tortoise, but the tortoise will have moved on, and this will happen over and over and over again an infinite number of times, and therefore Achilles will never catch the tortoise. I hope that you're a little less scared of infinity now. If I've whet your appetite for more, I can recommend a couple of books by a writer called Simon Singh. Fermat's last theorem is a story of a French judge who came up with a really simple theorem that took 350 years to prove, and The Simpsons and Their Mathematical Secrets is basically about the writing team of The Simpsons being PhD math PhDs, and how they've sort of injected loads of maths Easter eggs in The Simpsons over the years. Thank you.
Thanks, Gareth. You will no longer be stranger to this stage.
Thank you. Any questions, Gabe?
Any questions?
Gabe?
Gabe, please, can you just say to the so the people at home can hear it? We are live streaming today, guys.
Hi, great presentation, Gareth. I loved it. You were talking about the prime number sets there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you're way smarter than I am. Could you explain, like when it's divisible by itself in one, how if you add one, I feel like it might be divisible by something else, but am I wrong there? Could you explain the infinity?
Well, so one thing that I kind of didn't I glossed over a little, so you're right to pull me up on it, is that all numbers have what's called a unique prime factorization. So any number, even whether it's a prime or not, can be written as a product of other primes. So the point of that proof was that if we've got a list of what we think is all of the primes, and then we multiply those numbers all together, so that is obviously a product of primes, we add 1 to it, then if we divide the resulting number by any one of those primes, we will be left with 1. There's no, because so we'd be left with 1, and therefore it can't have been part of that original list.
Just that. You got it, right?
Hi, great presentation. Definitely want to chat with you after because I've wondered about infinity as well a lot. What I want to get your thoughts on is, so it's kind of mostly obvious that a number could be infinitely large, but can it be the other way as well, so infinitely small? Yes, basically. If you take an infinitely large number and then if you take 1 and then divide it by that infinitely large number, then you'll end up with an infinitely small number, basically. It's very similar to, there's a bunch of ideas around this which are kind of interesting, which is, like a similar one is like 0.9999999, etc., forever, recurring, is equal to 1. And you can read around that as much as you like, and there's some interesting proofs on it, but that it's equal to 1. So much like in the same way, you can get a number that sort of approaches 0, it actually is so infinitesimally small that it is mathematically is 0.
So, how old are your kids? And what have you noticed is, for someone who's passionate about math or maths, depending on which side of the Atlantic you're on, what have you noticed is good or doesn't work for getting children excited about maths?
I don't know how to get children excited about anything other than monster trucks at this point, and that's easy. You just take them to see monster trucks. So, but I mean, I do have a problem on my hands in that I am expected, obviously, to make my children geniuses. I have no techniques in order to do this, but yeah. I mean, I kind of hoped you were going to ask a question which is around like maths education and things like that. And one of my big bugbears about that is that there's an awful lot of people who are not very good at maths, and yet sort of when we kind of talk about it, it's almost like funny. People find it funny. Oh, I'm like so terrible at maths, and I actually think it's much more serious than that. I wish people didn't laugh it off so much. If you know what I mean, it's really important. Do you want to come up here and ask the question? Then there you go.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the presentation. I guess my question is, are there any theories that relate infinity to something that's intangible besides mathematics? So, for example, love or happiness or excitement?
I mean, there probably are. I'm definitely the wrong person to answer that question. Purely just because I'm very, very logical. So I'd say in some ways what I do, I guess, kind of related to your question is that I think probably the thing that pulled me into this topic originally was the idea that Cantor could be so good at what he was doing and kind of furthering mathematics, and he thought it was such a big part of his religion. And so he built that link in a way between things which many would say are unrelated. And I just found it incredibly sad that people would sort of use that against him. And he really I didn't want to kind of talk about it because at the end of his life was actually quite sad. He really, really struggled with it. He took everything on board that people said about him. So yeah, in some ways, maybe it's good that we don't link things like maths with love, because someone's just going to beat us over the head with it probably at some point. So.
Hey Gareth, very impressed with the talk. Can infinity actually exist in the real world, or is it purely a mathematical concept?
In the real world, as in like
in our world.
Yeah. So again, that's a kind of a tricky one, and I'm again not really the person to answer that question. There's very clever people who are not able to answer that question, but there is disagreement on whether, for example, the one place you might find it is the universe infinite, effectively, and there is not consensus on whether the universe is infinite or not. So I would say like, if the universe is maybe not infinite, then there's definitely no infinity on Earth. If we're going to find it anywhere, then that's where it is. But also, it's the edges of the universe obviously running away from us much faster than we can catch it. So I'm not sure we will ever find out.
All right.
No.
Yeah, I was just wondering, is it the same idea with the limits theory in calculus?
Yeah, I mean, that's probably, I was prepared for someone to say, well, you know, how can I use this in real life? As every maths teacher has probably been asked at some point in every single lesson that they've ever taught. Integral calculus and stuff like that, you know, what is the area of this curve as you know, x or y tend to infinity? That's the sort of place where it crops up a lot. And that's why anyone that has studied maths, you know, you'll come across tends to infinity quite a lot. Nothing ever equals infinity, it just approaches infinity, effectively. That's where that comes from.
Yeah. Thank you so much again.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So, two things before we take a little beverage break. I want to give a big shout out to Spanish Town Entertainment for setting up tonight's event. So if we could get a big round of applause for that. And I also want to thank JROC right here. He's filming this for us live. So just want to say hello to all those people out there that are watching Pechakucha from around the world, and thank you for tuning in. What we're going to do is we're going to take a little break. It's very steamy in here. I don't know if you guys are feeling it, but you could go outside to the dock if you want to take a little fresh air. Help yourself to the bar. There's still fish fry going on as well. And we'll be back in about 20 minutes. We have 4 more presenters lined up. We have everything from the artistry of being a ballerina to the elements to the power of music and
more.
And more. Stay tuned. Thanks, guys.
grounded beans grown in the Blue Mountain Peaks in St. Thomas, Jamaica. You can experience the great taste of Jamaica Blue Mountain coffee right here in Bermuda at some of the leading grocery stores or by contacting Warrell Jeffrey Coffee Retail at 599-0298. Jabby Coffee, taste the experience.
Toi mais c'est non, ah j'ai déjà dit non, non, c'est pas contre toi mais c'est non, allez, sans dis non, n'as-tu pas compris quand j'ai dit non, ah, T'as le démon ou quoi? J'ai déjà répondu à ta question. C'est pas...
to the left and a little bit over here to the right. Just don't want to have the microphone in front of me.
all your photo printing needs, stop by the Mall Studios in the Washington Mall and print your photos from any device with our new photo kiosk. With high quality and high speed, it prints photo sizes 4x6, 5x7, 8x10, and more. So stop in today and try our new photo kiosk at the Mall Studios in the Washington Mall, Hamilton.
Welcome back to the second round.
If we could just ask everyone to find a seat if you haven't found one yet. It's really great to see the turnout tonight. Once again, I want to say thanks for coming out. For those of you that have never been to this establishment, you are at the Blue Water Anglers Club. And it's so nice to host in this space. Blue Water Anglers Club has been around for a long time. It's one of the oldest black establishments that have been offering as a fishing club. And it's really, really wonderful to have everyone here and for us to be, supporting the space. So I just want to say thanks to them. If we could get a round of applause for the Blue Water Anglers Club.
Yeah, they've always been very, very supportive, and it's thank you to support the community that we can do this, because as some of you may know, this is all run by volunteers, right? And ultimately, without you and without the support of the community, this cannot happen. We acknowledge already a Spanish Town, Entertain Me, and JROC, because, we are spoiled. I walk in today and I just saw all this set up, and we were very thankful. But we also wanted just to give a shout out to all the other volunteers, to Hannah, to Rachel, to Mayhem, yes, Eugene, of course, for making it happen, and to you guys, because without you, we cannot make it. So today we still have a couple more presentations, but I also want to remind you that without presenters, we are nothing. And we try very hard. People tend to run away from Stratton and Aya parties because they know that we are going to be asking them, as I already asked a whole bunch of you tonight. But I would like to plant a little seed, on you tonight. If you feel inspired, if you have something that you're passionate about and that you want to share, this is your platform. Reach out to us. You will be, encounter a very supportive audience like tonight.
And I think we're planning for November.
November's
the next one.
schedule.
So just to give you a little bit of time to prepare and think about what you're going to present. If you do want to be up here on stage, by all means, please get in touch with us via Facebook, Instagram, all those usual things.
Yell at us on the street.
Yell at us on the street. That works too.
We will come to you.
We'd love to host you.
Yeah, and a small way that we have you just to get back, not just to, to the people responsible behind all this and help us to elevate the event, but also to, the host, club, like tonight is Blue Water Anglers. As you know, we move around. We just ask for donations, whether $1 or $2 or $5, whatever you can, is appreciated, just so you know the donations go entirely just to support those that support us. So I'm just in the best church fashion, I'm just going to be passing a little bag. I'm going to be passing a little bag. We appreciate your collaboration. But are we ready for the next round?
You didn't come here for us.
You did not.
Hit it. Let's do the next presenters. So I am very excited to welcome to the stage Hannah Bashara. Hannah Bashara, some of you
a stranger to the stage.
Yes, she is not a stranger to the stage because she presented at the last one.
At the last one,
Okay, so she got hooked. Sometimes people get hooked on this. So it's a pleasure to welcome her back. And for those of you that don't know Hannah, she's a musician and an artist and an incredible woman. And I want to welcome you to the stage, Hannah.
And we love
get a round
her.
of applause for her. All right. Can we give it up for Spanish Town Entertainment for hooking it up? Hannah, you're stepping on the corner.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for that intro, Strat and Alba. My name is Hannah Bashara. I am a Bermudian musician, artist, and I feel really great to be able to claim those things with more courage and confidence. So I'm going to talk about music. So this is a bit anecdotal. When I was 9 years old, my best friend Caroline, we were in music class, and our music teacher, Miss C, asked if anyone had anything they wanted to perform. Caroline got on her knees and she was singing "Thank You for the Music" by ABBA, and it really stuck with me. And I'm a big believer in circles, or at least approximations to full circles. And so I want to tell you a bit about those. This is me when I was about 8 years old at Caroline Musicant's house, and she used to throw an annual benefit concert where she would rally her friends to perform a song of their choosing. I didn't even make it to book one of my Suzuki piano book, but I was playing Musette, which was the only song I knew how to play. But years went by, and I had this fascination with externalizing internal feelings and internalizing external stimuli. And so this is kind of what my brain and my heart felt like and looked like. There was a bunch of colors, some darker, some lighter, but I was searching for legibility. How can I make sense to myself, and how can I make sense to other people? And so I took it on as an academic endeavor initially. I was 15 at Summersfield my last year, and I created a documentary about the power of creative expression in our community. So I interviewed a bunch of creatives who I looked up to at the time, and also synchronously went on kind of a journey myself of learning the basics of guitar and writing some songs, and some of you might remember that. This is a bit of a recycling from my last Pechakucha, but one thing I find interesting is how songs, and in particular my observation with my songs, I've realized that they're kind of a reflection of my surroundings, and so when I'm talking about heartbreak or tension, I'll often reference the tides or a hurricane. So how do you write a song, or what is a song? That's not really what my talk is. But there are people who will say, you need to have a chorus and a verse, and it should repeat this time. And then people who are really into theory who will point to how different chords are spaced out differently, and that's why songs will sound good. But for me, there is this magic factor to music. And so my quest as a songwriter and a musician isn't to figure out what that magic is, but to participate in it. Why is it that I keep making more? Why is it that I keep listening to more? Why is it that somebody can say something and it touches here and I feel that? And so one of the things I think is so great is that it allows for me to have an opportunity to confront myself in this really intimate and vulnerable way. I'll write a song, and if I'm approaching it with the utmost honesty, it will tell me something. And I am super moved and inspired by artists who do the same thing. That's me in university chamber choir, and this is one of my favorite pieces. For me, choir served as a really powerful metaphor for community, that we all have our individual vocal parts, but we're contributing to a larger piece. And for me, that's kind of what we're doing, you know? No man is an island, no person is an island. We're all contributing to something larger. Songs can be confessionals. I'm really moved by artists who can confront some of their own shortcomings and their vulnerabilities and then share that with an audience. And so somebody's vulnerability or mistake or need for redemption becomes a chance for us to do that as well. Songs is truth to power. Bob Marley and musician and political activist I really admire named Victor Jara from Chile. These are artists who used music as a means to speak truth to power, to question power. And so music is not just this Veblen good that's a luxury item, it's something that mobilizes people. I find this to be a super interesting example. JROC is kind of a genre of music that emerged in the 1950s, 60s, and 70s in Zambia after Zambia became independent. And it's a melding of British influence, or like psychedelic rock with Zambian vernacular musical influences. And it shows how music can be a reflection of what's happening in a country. Songs as affirmations of identity. Proud to be Bermudian. There's so many affirmations of what it means to be here and what it means to love here. And I think songs are an important example of how within that space, it's a meeting space for us to say this is who we are and this is who we aspire to be. I'm no physicist or mathematician, but I marvel at the way that songs can be this asynchronous way of us connecting with people and ideas and sounds before us and after us. And so it kind of feels like there are infinite possibilities of how we can impact each other by listening to music and engaging with it. This is a project that I really love by Maury not Madi the politician, Madi the Norwegian musician, who collected or created an album of songs, of songs that historically have been banned, showing that, you know, music, again, is not just this thing that's cute. It moves people, and so it becomes a threat to power. Meaning under the surface, because of that, artists do a really cool thing where they put meaning, they show meaning in covert ways. And so does our democratized access to music, does it create more freedom or does it stifle our freedom? And I'm interested as an artist and also somebody who listens to music, if streaming platforms, in what ways does that change our relationship to music? You know, we listen to it a lot more, we can listen to it whenever we want, but is that changing how we value it? And, you know, it's creating in some ways this musical machine, you know? It's like I can listen to music all the time, but music's becoming shorter. Music's created for playlists or for an ad or for something. It's a means to an end. And I have questions about, you know, what the implications of that are. And so I make music for me. These are a couple pictures of me doing the thing that I love and something that's helped me to become more of me. And it's taken me to really incredible places. I toured with Heather Nova a couple months ago. It's me in London. It's a video that's going to come out later. But I also do it, I said for you. It's not really for you, but it's for me to connect with you and for you to connect with me. And it's been a really cool way to see how we are each other. So thank you for the music, for giving it to me. Thank you.
Nailed it. I'm speechless. Does anyone have any questions for Hannah tonight? There we go.
Hi, thank you, Hannah. I know you said about the streaming platforms. I'm curious, how do you feel it's affected it? I know you said you look into that, but from your perspective, what do you feel it's done?
I think I'm trying to wrap my head around how I feel. As an artist, I've been resistant to putting my music on streaming platforms. Not that I'm inherently anti-Spotify or anti-Apple Music, but I find as a Bermudian artist, there are opportunities to perform live in ways that artists in other places can't do. So I feel like my musical journey has kind of been the other way around. And so I guess I've been invested in how it's been for me. But I do think that there are greater incentives for artists to platform their music onto these centralized platforms. And in terms of visibility, it can create opportunities for artists to, you know, be heard in other countries, in faraway places. But in terms of compensation, it can be really hard for an artist to use that as the means through which they're trying to earn money and make a living. So in some cases, I think in terms of visibility, it can be a tool, but using it as the platform, the standardized way of being a credible artist, I think that can become tricky, and I tend to lean away from that.
Do we have more questions?
How can one find their voice?
I think, how can one find their voice? Sonically. I think one can find their voice by being good to their voice. I know that's not what you mean, but twofold or multiple-fold. I like to hum a lot. It warms up my voice. I like pretend I have food in my mouth because my tongue, it's like a really powerful muscle and it can get your voice moving. Finding your voice, I think through trial and error and committing to your life and like sticking around and seeing how you can impact and be impacted by others, to use your heart and to feel things and to break down and like see how resilient your being can be. I think that's been a really powerful thing for me, and I hope it reflects in my music that nobody's journey is a straight line, but music is kind of this beautiful, woven, tangled, but perfect thing. Yeah.
Good evening. In one of the earlier presentations, there's a question about artificial intelligence. I'm just wondering what your views are on that in terms of the music industry, because there seems to be a lot of controversy at the moment.
Sure. Yeah, I think there is a lot of controversy surrounding what it means to be, or what does authenticity mean in the age of increasing usage of artificial intelligence. I think it's something that I'm also grappling with. I know that musicians will often, or sometimes, or creatives even, can use AI as a tool. Like, I'm not against people using AI to like help better organize their lives. Like, as an artist, I might use a little chat GPT to help me schedule things, but I do have an aversion to using it for my creative process. And like, every artist is different. I feel like there are probably artists that I might like who are pro AI. I don't know, but I think there's something nice about not using those things, and maybe there will come a time where it's inevitable, but for the sweet time I have not using it, I think I'm most comfortable with that.
Oh, good. Very soon.
Hi, Hannah. Thank you. I follow you on social media. Can you tell us about singing on the ferry? I've seen you singing a lot on the ferry.
Well, it was kind of my soft power, covert way of getting people to take public transportation. But I was on the ferry. I take the Pink Route ferry to work, and I realized, or I didn't realize, but taking the ferry does anybody know how much it costs? $2.75. So basically, I said one day that taking the ferry cost $2.75, and I was singing to a song I really liked. I was lip syncing, but then I made a series of just singing on the ferry and saying taking the Pink Route ferry costs $2.75. So I'll walk down the street. Sometimes people say $2.75. And I'm like, that's cool. That wasn't my intention, but I love that people know how much public transportation costs. Yeah.
Hey, so sorry to I'm going to talk about AI a little bit again.
Sure.
Because I feel like the question was around like using AI, I guess, to make music.
Sure.
One of my biggest to come in range. Magazines, newspapers, stuff like that are kind of closing down. Places where people would normally have like reviewed, criticized, recommended music. And it's moving more towards a model of there's a Spotify playlist that's kind of automatically generated.
Right.
You're going to have to like optimize your music to fall in line with that sort of flavor in order for it to make it onto that playlist. Like,
Yeah.
So you're worried about the kind of disappearance of like counterculture music, given like a lot of music that we have and enjoy today?
Yeah, I am scared or like wary of how countercultures can even emerge. And I mean, counterculturalists are people who are counter mainstream will find a way anyway. But I think it's exactly that. And sorry, I don't think I did your question justice because I don't know. I'm kind of just scared, and there's a lot of uncertainty. But yeah, I think platformization creates incentives for artists to create music in a specific way. You see, songs are becoming shorter, and artists will, have in mind a desire for it to be playlisted. I was like reading an article the other week, this is kind of unrelated, but like how like being perceived changes your cognition in ways that we don't know because we always think that we're being seen. And similarly for an artist, if you have in the back of your head, I need to get playlisted so that I can make money, or I need it to sound like this so that this label hears it, which isn't that dissimilar from how things used to be. But in terms of, Spotify being the holy grail of where your music is, if you're not, I think it can be harder for an artist to even know what it means to approach something genuinely when they're relying on these platforms to become visible.
All right. Well, all right. Can I cue the next slide, please, ma'am? Ta-da. All right. So, what? I don't know. I'm really excited to welcome our next presenter to the stage, Joshua Powell. This is his first time up here. And if we could get a round of applause for him.
The mic check. Better?
I gotta stay here.
I don't go anywhere without coming to.
Is acting up? Test 1, 2.
Ginger. Ginger. It's when I take it. I'm going to take it up there.
Check 1, 2. Hello. Okay. I was planning to do this with 2 hands, but now I'm going to have to do it with 1. Welcome. Thank you. So to begin, I want to invite you to take a few deep breaths with me, just to get present. So check 1, 2, check, check. So to begin, I'd like to invite you to take a few deep breaths with me. So sit your back in your chairs, stand up a little tall, or sorry, sit up tall, shall I say, not stand up. Close your eyes. And we're going to breathe in through our nose and out through our mouth. So take a deep breath in, 2, 3, 4, and out. 2, 3, 4. Again, in, 2, 3, 4, and let it go. Good. One more time, deeply in. Fill up the lungs, the deepest breath you've taken all day. And out. Nice. And slowly open your eyes. Feel a little bit of a shift, the breath. Hi, I'm Joshua. Okay, cool. Hi, I'm Joshua, and okay, so hi, I'm Joshua, and born and raised in Bermuda. I'm of Portuguese and English descent, and I think I definitely have a little bit of indigenous tribe in there somewhere that I've been feeling into over the past few years just through my healing journey. And I'm a health coach and a breathwork facilitator, and I'm passionate about expanded states of consciousness and how when we get to these states of consciousness, how we can heal ourselves, we can complete stress cycles, we can even complete trauma in our life for ourselves and our ancestors. So that's kind of my passion. I'm going to talk to you today about how to embrace the elements. Make them, go. Once upon a time, in early 2020, my partner and I went on a journey. I quit my job, and so did she. We uprooted our lifestyle, packed essentials into hiking bags, and bought a one-way ticket to Asia. Imagine Leonardo DiCaprio from The Beach meets Elizabeth Gilbert from Eat, Pray, Love. For some context, my partner was born in Sweden. Her family property is still in operation out there. I'm talking hunting cabin style with four-wheelers, snowmobiles, hiking, berries in the forest, a bunch of mushrooms that we used to pick and stuff, a primordial forest as far as the eye can see. It was beautiful. One word to describe it would be primitive, a fertile ground to embrace the elements. So fast forward to now. Fast forward to now. It's evident that we live in a time where division and disconnection seems to dominate our planet. So much so that it's easy to believe that separation is the default of human existence. Sudan, Gaza, Haiti, just to name a few that we're in now, right? But what if this sense of fragmentation between self and other is the very illusion that is keeping us bound in a state of fear, confusion, and suffering? Across ancient wisdom traditions and the leading edge of modern science, a profound truth is starting to re-emerge. The truth is that consciousness is not something that we possess, but rather something that we are. That beneath the surface of our individual identities and the roles that we play in this world, we are expressions of one unified field, intimately connected, inseparable, and whole. Today, come on a quick journey with me to dissect this unified field by focusing on the elements and how they may relate to us on a physical, emotional, or transpersonal level. While there are various elements across different traditions, today we're going to focus on the 4 main elements: earth, water, fire, air. And I know what you may be thinking. This curly-haired hippie is going to be talking to you about spiritual woo-woo and how to connect with trees and take your shoes off so you can ground. And I will, and we'll get to that. But first, let's draw on some ancient wisdom that is grounded in the 4 elements. Let's start with earth. So earth symbolizes the foundation of life, the eternal rhythms of growth, harvest, decay, and regeneration. The cardinal direction is north. Polarity is feminine, psyche type sensing function, so physical sensation. The attribute stable and determined, likes rules and a dependable routine, loves to be creative but can be stubborn and rigid. The concept of the four elements originates in ancient Greece around 450 BC, where philosophers were contemplating the nature of our physical world. It was deduced from this guy, Empedocles, that the physical world could be reduced to four elements. His theory states that they persist throughout recurring cycles of creation and destruction, kind of like a painter can make a multitude of colors from the four basic colors, right? So air, that's the element of intelligence connected to the soul, the breath of life. Masculine, thinking function, rationale, intellectual process. Logical and intelligent, free spirit who's ambitious, loves traveling, always on the quest for new, but changes like the wind. Similar symbology across other religions, one that I'm going to pick is pagan and Wiccan religions. There still is a good deal of focus on the four elements, and they're associated with the four cardinal directions, north, east, south, and west. The ancestors revered the four elements in poetry and story. And we have fire now. Fire, as you, yeah, nice. Fire is strength and energy. It creates and destroys. It's seen as the most rarefied of the elements, because it lacks a consistent physical existence and it produces light. Cardinal direction south, masculine, intuition, direct perception without the senses, passionate and impulsive. Using time on this. Carl Jung then took the four elements and mapped them onto his understanding of the human psyche, describing them as the four main functions of consciousness. These functions serve as cognitive frameworks through which individuals perceive and interact with reality. Now we have water. Water is the element of emotion and the unconscious. Water cleanses and heals, a strong affinity with the moon and her phases. West, feminine, feeling function, highly emotional, has vivid imaginations and can connect with others easily, but sometimes too trusting and follows the crowd. Now back to Sweden. So we lived approximately 150 kilometers south of the Arctic Circle. Frigid, dark temperatures contrasted with warm 22-hour sunlight summers. All that to say, seasonal affective disorder is a thing, and I experience it. It shook me like a snow globe, pun intended. I found myself becoming a miserable hermit with a weak immune system and an ocean of emotions. But you see, life can sometimes present us with people and circumstances to reveal where we are not yet free. When we understand this and come up against any form of constraint, we have the opportunity to recognize not where there is an external problem, but where there is an internal inability to be with something. Getting through was simpler than I imagined, and it started with ritual. To have a sense of awe and wonder to the magnificent biosphere in which we live, to bring sacred into the mundane. Can you guess where these mainly rituals evolved around? The elements, yes. It started with air. I did my first breathwork exercise in 2020 and I was hooked. It moved me so much I dove deep into multiple teachings of breathwork exercises. And then water. We dug a hole in the ice and proceeded to get into the hole. What an exhilarating experience. Now comes the fire. We got to warm up after the ice bath. So thankful for those dancing flames. And finally the earth. Endless forest walks. Barefoot in the mud, stacking stones, building and caring for a garden. Each element brings unique qualities and energies that help us find balance and harmony in our lives. Water. Swim as much as you can, embracing any temperature, especially in Bermuda. Keep a water jug on your counter and expose it to the sun and the moonlight often. Surrender to the ebbs and flows of your emotions and be cleansed by the sacred waters. Earth. Plant a garden, start a compost. Walk around a park or your backyard barefoot. Revel at the beauty of the trees and the flowers and the birds and the bees. And then fire. Burn a controlled fire once a month. Make a ritual. Take some things with you to burn. Dance around it. Gaze into it. Feel the heat on your skin. And finally, air. Bring more awareness to your breath. Is it shallow? Is it deep? Take a few deep belly breaths. Slow down, take another breath, and bring awareness to the present moment. We are not this thing that is existing outside of this place.
we live, but we are integral to it. And it can be a part of the solution by reframing our relationship with it. I empower you to embrace the elements.
Well done. Yes. Do we have any questions over there, Kenya?
Hey, so I have a question. If we want to do everything you just said, what can we do? So if I want to do the breath work, I want to start a fire. Tell me, where do I need to go?
I think you start with one. Definitely start with one. Whatever one of the elements that resonated with you the most, yeah, kind of feel into that. However, I do run workshops, not so often, but I can let you know when the next one is. And we incorporate all these elements into a 2-hour workshop, so not too long, and you're able to connect with them and connect with other people. So,
Sorry, what is your Instagram?
Instagram's Health Coach Joshua. Check me out on there. Yeah.
Who else has some questions for Joshua up there? Don't be shy.
Hi, Josh. Well done. Your presentation was brilliant. I was just wondering, what are the challenges that you faced with people exploring the different elements? I mean, I heard some gasps when they saw the ice, being cut and people jumping in it. Like, what were the main obstacles that people would shy away from out of curiosity?
I think a big part of it was trying to get people to listen to their own intuition, in a sense, because things like that, like the ice bath, right? Someone is maybe really against it, maybe they're not into swimming or those extreme kind of experiences, but listening to your intuition more, that was kind of the biggest challenge, I would say. But then when there was a breakthrough, it was really beautiful to see somebody kind of blossom into that and be like, no, this is not for me. I don't have to do this or whatever. So yeah, that was maybe a challenge. Thank you. Closer. Okay. Yeah, so getting people to listen to their intuition, basically, that was, I think, a big challenge because we tend to externalize our truth so much, such a hyper-connected world, right? And these little triangles in our pocket, with these little boxes in our pocket. So, yeah, that was definitely a challenge.
Does anyone else? Oh, good.
I have a question. Is it typical for someone for one particular element to resonate with them? Because for me, all of the elements resonate. I love the water, I love the earth, I love the air, fire. Is it normal to all of them to sing to you equally, or is it more typical for one to be core?
Yeah, it's a great question. I'd say it's definitely relative and intuitive. Back to intuition, right? What do you feel? If you're a mix of each, then yeah, awesome, good. And try and embrace that in each way. As an example, I'm maybe more fire and water, so I embrace those more. Yeah, my partner's more water and earth, perhaps, more grounded. So yeah, definitely intuitive and relative. But try each of it, because that's how you kind of learn if you do like something or you don't like it. Like, okay, I'm going to try it out. So, yeah.
Hi, thank you, Josh. That was amazing. I just wanted to ask, as a health coach, do you explore the elemental theory on a physical level too, meaning biological level, more from like Chinese medicine or, aspects of that?
I've just really explored it for myself and kind of dove into studies of it, but Chinese medicine, not so much. I think just quite simple, coming to the elements, grounding, taking my shoes off, going for a swim, and really meditating and sitting with myself within each of those experiences. But I'm curious. I'm very curious. I've heard acupuncture is great, so that's a plan to try it out. If you have any recommendations, let me know. Thank you.
All right, can we get another round of applause for Joshua Powell? All right. So as you can see from tonight, every presentation is so unique and different, and yeah, it's really great to see the variety, and it's all by chance. We do not plan out the whole type of presentations we're going to get or the people that are going to show up. So I'm really excited to welcome our next presenter to the stage, Sophia Cannoneer. And we're going to try out this mic thing. We're going to make sure it works. Are you ready? Yeah? You know anything?
Yes.
Can we get a round of applause, please?
people have seen ballet? How many people have been to a live ballet performance? How many people know a ballerina personally? How many of you would like to see a ballet live? Okay, so tonight I'm going to share a little bit about what it is to be a ballerina and why I do what I do and how it has shaped my life. But before I begin, I'm just going to pass one of these shoes around. Feel free to have contact with the shoe. I am wearing some, so if I grimace, it's not because I'm scared, it's because it hurts. So I'll talk more about those later. I need a bar, but I will try to be not as, remember my children are watching. Can you see that? Yeah? Okay, more later. I'm also, I may look like I'm 18, but I'm not, and it was my birthday yesterday, so I stopped counting. So I'm going to put my glasses on so I can read. Before we start, my name is Sophia Cannonier. I am Bermudian. I am very happy to be here. This is my fourth Pechakucha. I've done some Pechakuchas on Dresses Wonder Woman, pole dancing. It's very inspiring. I've done some on home birth. That was also very inspiring. And I've also done a Pechakucha on home birth and pole dancing together, which was crazy, but that's what postpartum does to you. Okay, thank you. You may go. So this is one of the happiest pictures that I can remember of myself. I was 1.5 years old here. And for me, doing a Pechakucha is like very, very important to find my confidence. I remember not very good things from my childhood. I was a very dysfunctional family. There was a lot of crying, a lot of fighting. This lady is Mrs. Patricia Gray. She is 90 years old. She is still my mentor. I see her, I talk to her. I should talk to her every week. She took me under her wing. I cried and cried and cried and cried, and she helped me understand who I was. And I find that she's responsible for who I am today. She comes from a lineage of, the lady in the middle is Madame Anna Roy, who danced with Pavlova, who danced with Danilova, who danced with anybody who was anybody in that time, about in the 30s and 40s, in London, with the man at the top, Nicholas Legat, and Mrs. Gray was at the bottom. This is me at 16. Please notice the shoes, and there's the pose, yes. I wanted to dance to find safety. I didn't have it at home. And I was desperate to get off the island because I just needed to have a change. I was looking around to where I was going to go. I thought that I knew I had a scholarship to study pharmacy because I could have been a lawyer, a doctor, a pharmacist, but I saw another ballerina, and this is Lydia Barca, and this was a dance magazine cover from way back. But this is the picture that caught me. This is Virginia Johnson. When I was 17 years old, I saw that picture and I said, I'm not going to go to Ryerson and study pharmacology. I'm going to New York and I'm going to move there for the summer. And then I stayed for 13 years. And that lady really inspired me. This is the most recent book. I'm in there, the Dance Theater of Harlem. Judy Tyrus is one of the ballerinas who took me under her wing, and she taught me not to starve myself, because I never did, but my director always wanted me to be smaller. But she taught me how to eat macrobiotically. Can you pick me out? I am here. Definitely had more curves then, and I miss them, but that's what dancing does. So I was 21 there. And that is Alvin Ailey's The River. And we were doing that, one of our last tours. The arts had a problem, and they were underfunded in America. So I moved to Dance Theater of Harlem when I was 17 years old, and I spent a lot of time in the company. This picture is me as a backup ballerina for Aretha Franklin. There I am here. Aretha's not in the picture, but we couldn't get anywhere near her to get her in the picture. I traveled a lot. And I got injured. And when I got injured, I had to get stronger. So I dove into Pilates when I was 18.
I sat in the theater with Nelson Mandela when I was injured, and I had a conversation with him just like I was sitting in your chair, and he asked me why I was not on stage. That changed my life. Mr. Mitchell, as we know him, he always said you are representing more than yourself. He would not let you come on tour if you did not have the right attire. As you see, conscious of first impressions and demanding respect. After dancing in New York, when there was funding that was low and the company was on a hiatus many times, I came home to Bermuda and I started to dance with Conchita Ming, and this is Circle in the Sky, and it sparked my, I don't know enough about Bermuda and where our dance originated in Bermuda. So I began teaching in the schools. And my teacher, Mrs. Gray, took me under her wing. My family could not afford ballet classes, barely. So she taught me for free, and I wanted to teach others for free. But I found that there was a lot of competition with all of the ballet schools, and there still is. It's more of a, they're more of a, ooh, how did that one get in there? That was planned. But that's a whole nother Pechakucha. This is the gentleman, his name is Michael. He's not here at the moment, he's in Belgium. This is New Year's, and that's me after I was dancing on the pole at New Year's at a party. He and I have a beautiful relationship, and we will do a Pechakucha together. But I needed to slip him in there, and this was the appropriate time. So Arthur Mitchell said, back to my goal of teaching children, Black children can dance. And it wasn't until I actually went to America that I found out that there was racism there, of course, and back in Bermuda. So the schools wouldn't let me teach, so I started to teach our home birth children. This is Ravi Cannonier-Watson, Vidya Cannonier-Watson, and Inanna Cannonier-Watson with Sophia Cannonier-Watson. And they all love dance. No, I didn't force them to dance. I just didn't have the money to put them in everything else. My son was a football player. He played for Devonshire Colts. And as you can see, he has a fantastic jump. But we wanted him to see if he could explore his artistic side. So we auditioned him for Billy Elliot. He got in, but they always tell you they're going to be too tall. There he is now. He is the first Bermudian at age 21 to dance with the Royal Ballet Company in London. And he will be here in 5 weeks doing a beautiful performance for you. First Bermudian to dance in the Royal Ballet Company, and they took him from age 11 all the way through till he got into the company. This is Vidya Cannonier-Watson doing her RAD solo seal preparation. This is in a magazine for the Royal Academy of Dance in London. She will also be here in 5 weeks' time. And she has just been offered a contract to the English National Ballet Upper School. And this is our goddess child. She is the youngest. She's the one that says, I'm not doing classical ballet. She is the modern dancer. Her name is Inanna, which means goddess of heaven and earth. All of the children were named because they were intentional. And I wanted to change the way I was brought in, and I have stopped that. So, any questions? I didn't even use
Thank you, Sophia.
Thank you.
We look forward to see that presentation with you and your husband.
Oh, me? Oh, yes. Oh, that one. Yeah.
We have lots of questions here. Oh, you were just scratching your nose?
Gonna wait for the mic.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sophia. That was beautiful. Sophia. Actually, I have a...
Kombucha.
Cheers. I have a specific question. Just, you mentioned that ballet gave you a sense of safety. I was just curious, in what sense did ballet give you a sense of safety?
I didn't have to speak. I could express myself through movement. I found that even if I was crying, it was accepted. I found the words through my body. And I found a tribe of people, even at a young age, that loved to do it as much as I did. And it got me out of the environment. So I had someplace to go. Even high school was traumatic here for me. I was firstborn, perfectionist, looking for safety. That's why, I know I've been doing a lot of healing. So I understand why I am the way I am. So that's what I was looking for, safety. Does that answer your question? Okay, yes, there's more at the back.
I have a question.
Sure.
So for dancing and ballet specifically, would you be open to doing classes for older people? Because I know people do like ballet, like, or even sports, like from a set age, and then like when you get to a certain age, you're kind of done.
No.
But I feel like, you know.
You're not done.
Okay.
No, your tombstone is your diploma. You just keep going. I teach adult ballet classes, but I teach, you know what? I teach whoever wants to come. So if I have an 8-year-old in the class and a 58-year-old in the class, it's the same technique that Mr. Lagat taught. It's body conditioning. And I did not tell you that I also teach the Pilates method, because that's actually what made me even stronger. And all those beautiful muscles, they all come from all of that kind of work. So dancers nowadays are conditioned in weight training and Pilates and gyrotonic and all sorts of things. So yes, I do teach. Just give me your call. Yeah, but you need to be committed, because I am a committed person.
Hello, my love. How are you?
Hi. I'm in pain at the moment. I have my daughter's point shoes on.
I wanted to ask you, you say that you're in pain, so my question is, when we see ballerinas and the gentlemen, are they all in pain as they do that? Because mercy.
Yes. So the first part of your question, the point shoes, as you've been feeling, all they are gauze, glue, and a little bit of block of wood, which is balsa and just very small. It takes 10 years to grow a dancer. 10 years. So from like age 8 to 18. And you don't go on point until you've passed puberty, because then when you are standing on your toes, you're not compressing your joints. It is painful. Your toes bleed when you're getting used to it. It's just like doing the end-to-end without care. Yeah, I'm just going to go walk the end-to-end. If you go into your point shoes, and yeah. But I do get, when I was dancing, I became acquainted with how to take care of my feet. And I still do. I have very good-looking feet. And of course, the Pilates does help and the awareness. So did that answer your question? Yes, kind of? Okay. Anything else?
We have one more question here.
Do you think the cross-training that you are now incorporating into your whole routine, do you think that's helped prevent injuries for your children?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yes. And for me, too. I do CrossFit twice a week, and they always say I do it like a ballerina, but I don't care. It works. So yes, all of the dancers, they lift, they jump. In the gym, they're always checked for their muscle and their health, their diet, their psychological health. They are well taken care of. They are Olympic athletes. They are not the same dancers that you have possibly seen in movies or maybe back in the day. They are definitely super athletes now. And
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. You need help? So we have one more presenter. So don't go just yet, because we have one more. That next on the stage we have Reverend Gav Tite. So please join us here and give it a big round of applause for our last presenters of the day.
G'day. Hello, everybody. Woo! Good to see you. There's a lot of you. I was sitting in the front. Thank you. I'm very used to holding a microphone because I'm a podcaster, a writer. I've been a virtual reality designer, a game designer, a web app designer, do video, I do audio, but I'm also a human beatboxer. And tonight, I want to talk to you about a visual way of representing human sounds, and it's called beatboxology. So beatboxing, the word beatbox is another name for a drum machine, and so a human beatbox is a human drum machine. Here we go. And so we make drum sounds with the mouth and sound effects. They came from outer space. So we kind of do all sorts of crazy sound effects. Now, everybody say ah. This is little Gav before ADHD was invented. This is the 1st of September 1979. It's a really important date because my dad had a reel-to-reel tape machine, came with the microphone, and I've got a recording from 1979 making electronic beatboxing sounds before beatboxing was invented. Scan forward to the year 2000, or 1999, 2000, and beatboxing.co.uk was the biggest website for human beatboxers, and a friend of mine called Alex Chu started that. Alex Chu, you need to look him up. He sold the website to me for £1 and went on to do things like a little web app called Calm. You may have come across it, and things like that. And I created the world's first audio and video tutorials on how to beatbox. And this is 2003, the very first world convention on beatboxers. We had beatboxers from all over the world. They gathered in London, and it was the first time beatboxers could go, oh, wow, how did you make that sound? And how did you do that? And we could discover how those sounds were made. Now, since then, I have been a judge at the World Beatboxing Championships in Berlin, 2015, 2018. I've been the UK judge at the UK Beatboxing Championships, the European Beatboxing Championships, and there's this whole network of beatboxers creating the art form of human beatbox. But there's a problem. See, I created these video tutorials, I created these audio tutorials on how to beatbox, but how do you do that without using the English language? It's okay for me to say, well, what you need to do is make a labiodental fricative with your mouth, and you can't do it. And so we have the Malaysian beatboxing community, the Indonesian beatboxing community, but they don't speak English. So I thought, well, okay, let's think about the anatomy of the mouth. You see, there are 16 places in the mouth where you make sounds. We call them places of articulation. You've got your teeth, your lips, your hard palate, your soft palate, your pharynx, your glottis, your vocal cords. And I said, well, what if we had a symbol for each of those places in the mouth? 16 places, 16 different symbols to represent your top lip, your bottom lip, your pharynx, your hard palate, and so forth. And if we combine those symbols, we can describe how any sound could be made. Now, there are 4 different kinds of sounds that we make. Now, these are 2 lips, one above the other. They are visual representations of the side of the mouth, an upper lip and a lower lip. And there are 4 basic kind of sounds. We have plosives. I'm going to use my lips like pa, pa, pa. Yeah, that's a plosive, pa, like that. We have fricatives, where I use my lips and I blow air between them. There's an air gap between on the symbol, like that. Or we could have one way go, and of course, we could hum and have them together. Now, we have our vocal cords, and because we're not trying to describe musical notes, I'm just trying to describe how sounds are made. I'm not really interested in the actual note that we make with our vocal cords, but it can be pitched high, it can be pitched mid, and it can be pitched low. And then we have our 5 effectors, how sound is affected. We have the first symbol, it means aspirated, it means breathing. We have a forced sound, where we create a slight oscillation. Pa becomes, yeah? So you're kind of forcing the sound. It could be inwards, it could be oscillated, or and we can have tight lips. That last symbol was about tightening the muscles. So here we have a very simple kick drum sound. It's a bilabial plosive and a bilabial fricative. So it's just like that. Now if I forced it, it becomes, and we have a kick drum or a snare drum, like that. So here we have a hi-hat. Everybody say tennis. Say 10, say ta, go t. There you go. It's really hard, isn't it? I could have said just say a T sound. Okay, that's a T sound, and that's your alveolar ridge and your tongue touching, and it's a plosive, remember? Because it's squeezing the air out. And then here we have a really cool looking sound. It's a combination of sounds, and this is our classic inward hand clap sound. And we got an alveolar stop, we've got a buccal tongue, we've got a force sound, it's inwards, and it's aspirated, and it goes like this. And it's how beatboxers don't die by running out of breath, because we can breathe in and make a sound at the same time. Put them together, we got, yeah? And you can keep going on forever because you're breathing while making a sound. Yep. So moving on. So I just thought, well, I need to describe this, and so I came up with this idea called Buzzcut. And Buzzcut is a web app that teaches you how to make the sounds, and you can dive in at any level. You can start with the sound, and then you can break it down into its components and see how each of those components is made, or you can start with the components and build your way up to make whole sounds. And there's whole libraries of sounds, and here's some examples. I think this is a siren sound. It's got a labiodental fricative, it's oscillated, it's aspirated, and it's voiced. And it goes like this. It's quite a cool sound, isn't it? Yeah? So, labiodental fricative, oscillated, and aspirated, breathing out. I don't know what this one is. Oh yeah, I think it's a helicopter sound, isn't it? Can you tell that just by looking at it? Dental plosive, uvula plosive. That's your uvula's the dangly bit at the back of your throat. Yeah. Labiodental fricative, so it's going to be going to sound again. Oscillated, aspirated, vocal fluent. It sounds like this. So we've got a helicopter sound. And finally, our last little sound here. Any Doctor Who fans? Well, like 3. Nobody's like, no. This is the Dalek sound, okay? So it's a uvula plosive. I've done it already, like that, and it's voiced, and it's oscillated. So not just going like, I can't do it now because I'm going to run out of breath. But it's voiced, so it can sound like a Dalek. Exterminate! You will be destroyed, and things like that. So we call this system beatboxology. It's a way of describing any human sound that you can make with the mouth just using symbols, rather than using English, that I've just done this whole presentation using English, haven't I? Okay. Oh, thank you.
All right. That was great. Thank you.
Are there any questions?
Yeah. What sort of questions do we have for Rev Gab? Oh. Yeah? I think she wanted to ask, where do you perform?
Every Sunday morning at St. Mark's Church. See you there. No. I don't know. I've done lots and lots of performing. I've performed all over the world, universities, festivals, you name it. I've been on TV lots in the UK. But these days, I just kind of keep a bit of a lower profile. The beatboxers today are just next level. Yeah, I'm just like, I just feel a bit embarrassed doing it in front of them now because they're like so good. But I can still hold my own a little bit. Yeah.
Oh, we got one.
So your beatboxology, the way you presented it, and thank you for presenting it, it seems like that's a real breakthrough in the proliferation of it. Can you talk some more about the impact of having invented it? Who's using it? What's going on?
It's been licensed by Music First. It's been taught in schools across North America with Music First. There was an evolution to get there. I was a music technology teacher and teaching acoustics, and so I was very familiar with kind of the way sound is made, the phonetic alphabet. The phonetic alphabet was just too complicated, and so there were sort of iterations to get to this idea of beatboxology. I presented it at UCL in London to the actually guys that invented the International Phonetic Alphabet, and it went down a storm. They loved it. I don't know. I'm a bit like Hannah. I feel like I'm just a creative artist, and I just like to do this stuff because it's just in me, and it's But if more people could just use it, that would be amazing. Yeah, I'd love that. Yeah.
How much of this is used in your sermon, and do you use it? Do you use it when the choir or whatever is?
I have done. Yeah. Every Christmas at the kids' service, I'm beatboxing some of the songs. We have, and of course, because I'm into hip hop, we have a lot of hip hop beats at St. Mark's and stuff. We kind of turned. Yeah, it was a bit old-fashioned when I got there. Shh, it wasn't really. This isn't being live streamed. It's okay. It was a bit old-fashioned when I. It is okay. But we've kind of dragged it into the 22nd century, so it's pretty cool now. Yeah. With the beatboxing.
What other questions do we have for Rev Gab? Oh, nice.
Any other questions?
Question again. I think everything is amazing. So how can we participate? Where can we find you?
Yeah.
Do you have Instagram
You can go
or
to- yeah,
school or
yeah.
something? Like we're coming.
I've got a load. All the original tutorials are on my YouTube channel, which is Rev Gav. I think also buzzcut.com is the web app. The videos, because I couldn't really afford Vimeo, and so I need to pay my Vimeo license, all the videos work. But all the icophonics, all the sound examples are all on there. So it's bzzktt.com, and you can see it all there. Yeah.
We got time for one more question. Is there any other question out there? Come on, guys.
Do you want to hear just a tiny bit more?
Yeah, let's do a little
question. Okay.
Just do a little performance.
Okay, I don't know what I'm going to do. One, two. Mike, nicknames, tight. Mike, nicknames, tight. Mike, nickname is the tight. Mike, nickname is the tight.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Woo! Thank you so much. Well done. Well, and that was our journey today. Thank you so much for that, Red Gav. And thank you to all of you who came tonight. It was an amazing night. I really loved all the topics and all the passion that that the presenters have brought. I hope that you have been inspired, that we planted that seed, and then you just yell at me in the street that you want to do a presentation next time. Yep.
Exactly. We just want to say thank you once again to Spanish Town Entertainment, to Blue Water Anglers Club, to JROC for hosting this live on YouTube tonight, and to all of you. And then last but not least, thank you to all of our presenters. Can we get another round of applause for all of them?
Also, yeah, you found it. Yeah, so thank you so much to all of those who were watching from home, from all of those that you have given donations, to us today. If you haven't, we have the bag here, and we will see you next time. Follow us on the socials, and we'll see you next time. Thank you for coming.
All right, thank you. All the presenters.
Oh, can I get the presenters up here, please, for a photo?
Wait, I just did.
Oh. I missed. Let me try again. Damn right.
Can we get the presenters to the stage, please?
That got it. Damn right.
Hannah, Kenya, Joshua.
That got it. Damn right. I better knock on wood. Damn right it's good.
Well done, guys.
I better knock on wood.
Oh, it's Hannah. Thank you. Where's the bag? Where's the bag?